Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Advocate Chauke. Good afternoon, Advocate Mloja. You continue to be under oath, Counsel. You may begin, Advocate Ngcukaitobi.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Mlojo, do you have the terms of reference in front of you?
I don't, but before testifying, I looked at them in the morning and last night.
Do you now have them?
Yes.
All right. Can we go to the, I would say, the underlying facts, which is under paragraph 3, page 3. So what this inquiry is meant to do is to investigate the fitness of Advocate Chauke to hold office as a prosecutor, and in particular in the capacity of Director of Public Prosecutions. Do you believe that Advocate Chauke is not fit to hold the office that he currently holds?
With the evidence I have, I don't think he is not. Not unless there's other evidence.
Yes, well, I mean, we can't work on other evidence other than the evidence you know. So according to you, he is fit to hold the office he currently holds?
Maybe for the records, I need to clarify this.
No. Just answer my question first before you clarify things for the record. I'm trying to understand your answer. On the evidence that you have in front of you, you say you do not believe that he is not fit. So that's a negative for saying he is fit.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
All right. What do you want to say then?
When preparing to come to this forum, the only impression I was given was to come here and testify about my engagement with him only on one piece of the inquiry, which is the engagement relating to the Katomena, which I explained in my evidence in chief.
Well, that's fine, but you can be cross-examined on any aspect that is relevant to the terms of reference. And that's why I'm asking where the case starts, which is the fitness of Mr. Chauke to hold the office that he holds. The second thing I want to ask you about the terms of reference is if you go to paragraph 3.1.1.
Yes, I'm with you.
And under sub-paragraph 3.1.1.1, do you have any evidence to give to the panel about whether or not Mr. Chauke supported a decision to prosecute the Ketumano accused without evidence?
The answer is a big no in the light of my evidence.
Yes, all right. And then if you go to 3.1.1.2, do you have any evidence that Mr. Chauke recommended the authorization of a racketeering certificate without evidence?
I did not see even that recommendation.
Yes, no, I understand it. I'm asking whether you can help the panel to answer the question in 3.1.1.2. The answer could be yes or no. So the answer here is no.
My answer is I can't be able to help the panel because I did not see the memorandum. The only thing I saw in this matter was the first draft and the emails we engaged about with Mr. Chauke. Nothing else.
Yes, all right. No, that's fine. Now, if I can then go back to 3.1.1.1. If you look there, what they say is that Mr. Chauke attempted to have the acting director of public prosecutions. When we asked Advocate Batoi, who is this acting director, he said it was Mr. Mlojo. Now, what did he attempt to have him to do is to sign a case docket and a prosecution memorandum. Did Mr. Chauke ever attempt to force you to sign a case docket?
I never dealt with the docket. I brought it to the evidence leaders that at no point did I deal with the docket. So there was no way I could be forced to sign to be forced to sign for the docket.
Did Advocate Chauke ever force you to sign a prosecution memorandum?
No.
Yes, all right. So 3.1.1.1, insofar as it refers to you, your answer is an absolute no. All right, thank you. We've already dealt with 3.1.1.2. Now, 3.1.1.3 is about the review proceedings, where it is alleged that Mr. Chauke defended a review application without evidence. Can you help the panel on that?
No, review took place after my recall. So after my recall, I did not have anything to do with the matter.
So the answer is no.
Yes.
Okay, 3.1.1.4, Mr. Chauke is accused of instituting an appeal against the judgment of Judge Govan. Can you help the panel on that?
Same answer, no.
No. All right. 3.1.1.5 is that Mr. Chauke attempted to have racketeering charges reinstated by Mr. Nxasan. Can you help the panel on that?
I can't.
No. All right. Then 3.1.1.2 is that Mr. Chauke attempted to charge, continued to charge Lieutenant General Richard Mdluli on charges other than murder, and he withdrew the murder charge. Can you help the panel on that?
No.
All right. Then we have 3.2, which asks whether or not Mr. Chauke, in executing his duties, complied with the Constitution, the NPA Act, or other relevant laws. Do you have any evidence that he did not comply with the Constitution, the NPA Act, or other laws?
No, I don't have.
Yes, all right. And 3.2.2 is whether or not, in exercising his discretion, Mr. Chauke acted properly. Do you have any evidence that he acted improperly?
No.
Yes. 3.2.3 says that asks the question whether or not Mr. Chauke duly respected court processes as required by the applicable prescripts and as a senior member of the NPA. Do you have any evidence that he did not respect court processes?
I don't have.
No. Okay. 3.2.4, the question is whether or not he exercised his powers or performed his duties in accordance with the prosecution policy and policy directives under Section 21 of the NPA Act. Do you have any evidence that he did not exercise his powers in line with the prosecution policy or in line with the policy directives under Section 21 of the NPA Act?
No.
All right. And then 3.2.5, the question is whether he acted at all times without fear, favor, or prejudice. Do you have any evidence that he acted with fear, with favor, or with prejudice?
No.
In 3.2.6, the question is whether he displayed the required competence and capacity to fulfill his duties, and whether he engaged the facts presented to him impartially in good faith. And then it continues. Do you have any evidence that he was not competent and did not show the capacity to engage with the facts before him in good faith?
No.
Yes. 3.2.7 is whether he acted in a manner that brought the NPA into disrepute by his actions or omissions. Do you have any evidence that he brought the NPA into disrepute by his actions or omissions?
I don't have.
So then why are you here?
I beg your pardon? What was your last answer?
I don't have.
You don't have.
Yes. So why are you then here? Because you can't help the panel on any of its terms of reference. Do you know why you're here?
Reason why I'm here, Madam Chairperson, is I received, I think, 4 calls from the evidence leaders. And the nature of the calls, they were asking me about my engagement with Advocate Chauke. On that basis, I was given to understand that as an officer of the court, as I engaged with Mr. Chauke, and those emails relate to one of the piece of evidence, that's why I had a problem even in drafting the affidavit for my evidence. Hence, I just indicated that the purpose of this affidavit is merely to explain my engagement, because that is the impression I got in my interactions with the evidence leaders.
Yes, can I tell you one aspect that has come from Advocate Batoyi, and you can help us with? Advocate Batoyi ignored the terms of reference, and he spoke about Advocate Chauke attempting to force you to sign an indictment. Did Advocate Chauke ever attempt to force you to sign an indictment?
Emails are before the panel.
Now I'm asking you the question, did he ever force you to sign an indictment?
After he apologized, we left it like that.
Yes, I understand, but I want to get a clear answer. Did he ever force you to sign an indictment?
No.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I've got nothing else to ask.
In other words, that which was presented to the Zondo Commission in your statement and the statement of Major General Boyson in particular, in this regard, that Advocate Chauke forced you to sign the indictment without a memorandum is incorrect. I'm paraphrasing what is presented in those statements under oath, but that is the nub of the statement before the Zondo Commission.
Madam Chair, if I recall correctly, one of the things they wanted me to explain, if I knew law that exists when one prosecutor from the other division go to another division, in which instance I answered to the chairperson then that I did not know. Then I had to explain, but under exceptional circumstances, I won't deny a situation where a prosecutor from one division goes to another division. And then I went on to explain that in our situation, we didn't have written instructions. And then we had our own arrangement, in terms of which I had requested a memo so as to sign the indictment.
Do you remember Advocate Chauke's affidavit in response to your statement and the statement of Advocate Major General Boysons in the Zondo Commission? Do you recollect what he said as in relation to you?
Madam Chair, as far as I remember, I picked up also some mistakes because these things happened long time ago.
No, just the essence, just the essence. In relation to you, particularly in relation to you having been forced to sign the indictment. Do you remember that? What Advocate Chauke said in his deposition to the Zondo Commission?
Madam Chair, I don't
Can't
recall
remember.
seeing the Zondo Commission affidavit by Mr. Chauke.
Yes.
The only affidavit I have is the affidavit in connection with these proceedings.
Yes, before the Zondo Commission, Advocate Chauke prepared a witness statement in terms of Rule 3.2, and in that statement, he said to the Commission, in relation to the purpose why he was writing that statement, if I may paraphrase, the purpose was to address the allegations made by yourself and Major General Boyson. And he sought to deal specifically with those aspects of your statement to the Zondo Commission. You say you did not read his statement.
That is the position, Madam Chair. If I can be given just 10 minutes, I'll quickly go through it.
Yes, no, if you didn't read the statement, it's fine. But why were you before the Zondo Commission? Why did you make a statement before the Zondo Commission? Were you invited? And what was the purpose of you presenting a statement to the Zondo Commission in which you made allegations against Advocate Chauke? Remember, the Zondo Commission was about state capture.
Madam,
I've been trying to understand why those statements were made by yourself and Major General Boysons.
if I'm not mistaken, for the Zondo Commission and the other commission, I was approached by the evidence leaders.
Yes.
They told me that I need to come and give evidence as an officer of the court. Exactly as it has happened here, I had to oblige.
Yes. Now, in hindsight, given what you know now, in relation to Advocate Chauke, the vehemence against him before the Zondo Commission had nothing to do with the capture, correct?
Madam Chair, I indicated that even with the bundle of documents here, there is quite a number of attachments that are not relevant to this case. They were dealing quite a number of cases there. the high-profile matters that I was dealing with at the time. So this was one of them, not only this matter.
Councillor, you are not answering my question. My question is, now in hindsight, having reflected on the terms of reference which you accepted right at the outset of your testimony that you read, and with regard to what was presented before the Zondo Commission, in hindsight, would you agree with me that the averments made against Advocate Chauke then had nothing to do with the state capture?
It had everything to do with the memorandum that we agreed upon that I did not receive.
Did it have anything to do with state capture before Judge Zondo?
Madam Chair, my answer is no.
No.
With what I know.
That's precisely the point. I'm asking you about what you know. We all know what state capture was all about, and it just surprised me that those allegations against Advocate Chauke were presented to the state capture. And ultimately, the commission made no findings against Advocate Chauke, among other people. And I've just been wondering what was the purpose of presenting those statements to the state capture commission. I thought that maybe you'll bring something to our attention that
Nothing.
we are not aware of.
Even coming here, I was also battling to understand up until I thought that maybe it's my engagement with Mr. Chauke. I had to comply.
Yes.
Advocate Mlochwa,
Yes.
you say you went to the Zondo Commission because you were invited to.
That is the position.
And you say, as an officer of the court, you felt you were actually obliged to go and participate.
Even here, that's what I was told.
And participate fully in that commission.
That is the position.
And then you also mentioned that you also made a statement to the Mokoro Commission.